everyone, this is Erin Simon. Today I'm sitting down with LeanAndCuisine and DangMattSmith. My question to you two is, what is your launching point?
My launching point, I would say, would be Instagram captions. That's where I started like getting into like content creation. I would like look at like, I don't know, just memes or pictures of just funny things and just caption them the most ridiculous things I could think of. Cause like growing up in the DMV, we would always joan on each other, or other people say roast or spark, or like basically make fun of the way somebody's clothes look or something. So I was like, let me just take that and turn that into content. But I would say, yeah, that's where it all started. And eventually from that, I went to like shooting videos. But yeah, I would say the Instagram captions where like it all began.
For me, get this, my launching point was in a porta potty in North Carolina. Okay,
Wait,
let
what?
me explain. Let me explain.
Go
So I was working, my job at the time was to clean porta potties, clean different porta potties and everything. Worst job you'll ever get, okay? So don't, highly do not recommend. But while I was in there, I had another buddy that worked with me, and then, we started just, talking about YouTube and everything, and we're like, man, we gotta get out of these bathrooms. So we started watching YouTube videos and stuff, and then we saw some creators who are popular, and we're like, okay, if they can do it, because their stuff wasn't that good to us. We're just like, come on, if they can do it, we can, we're funnier than them.
Yeah.
So we really had that epiphany on the toilet, well, not on the toilet, but in the bathroom. We had this epiphany, and then we finally were like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's get it, let's make it happen. We saved enough money, and then like we quit our jobs, and we're just like, all right, it was like 50 Cent, get rich or die trying. So we really went hard, and then we just started making it. It started off bad, but just start with anything, you start learning, and then you start growing.
I have to say, you're good with hooks, because I thought you were going to be saying, like, I was just sitting on the toilet one day, and no, but I mean, sometimes, I'll be honest, that's sometimes like the best idea places when you're just sitting on the toilet, and it just, you both have done skits, and obviously you've expanded into other areas, but for both of you, like, what's that process of like, okay, this is the kind of video I'm gonna shoot? Like, how does it come to you?
Sometimes I don't think of the content at all. Like it'll just come to me like that. And other times I'll like actually go down and script it out. Like, oh yeah, I want this to happen. I want this to that. I gotta write a whole script so people know specific lines, what to say. It's like off and on for me. I do, some of it's improvised, some of it isn't.
As far as the ideas, a lot of it will come from me just talking with other people, and then they say something funny, and then I riff off of that, and then we're riffing off each other. We're like, man, somebody should do this, and then you're like, well, we gonna do it. So then we film that. Sometimes I'll just have a dream. I wake up and I think it's the best idea in the world, but then I start writing it. I'm like, this ain't a good idea.
Yeah,
so you just have to go through that process of like, writing it and going through. And I know we're mainly doing YouTube, but nobody sets out to make a bad movie, but there's still a lot of bad movies out there. So it's like, you just gotta roll with it, and if it flops, it flops.
We see you guys in these skits, we see you guys in the reactionary videos, but like, who exactly are you in your everyday life?
Honestly, I like the game a lot. I love the game. Like that's one of my biggest hobbies. I love to draw. Honestly, I would say streaming. Like streaming or drawing or working on music, just working with my creativity in ways.
Most of my days, waking up, gotta go play basketball, get my exercise in, and then I start actually doing my work. For me, I'm more productive after I, go outside and get some exercise in, and then the creative juices start flowing. So then I'm writing, filming, getting the edits in.
It's so interesting how we all come from so many different backgrounds, so many different walks of life, but yet we're all here right now, all successful in what we do. And I think that the one thing that seems to be the commonality amongst us three is that we took our upbringings, we took real life and utilized that into our art form, into our work. And I feel like now it's become a little bit harder to do that in some sense, because there's so much noise. There's so much content, there's just a lot more than probably when all of us started, right? Yeah. So what is that creative process that you two put into place to draw from real life experiences, to draw from other things, but also in a manner that doesn't have you be distracted by the noise.
I like to tell myself, don't let your audience dictate what you create, because I feel like what I like over time through content creation, I started thinking, oh, is my audience gonna like this? Are they gonna be offended by this? Are they gonna find this funny? But I feel like that's not the way I didn't enjoy that, because it would like interfere with what I wanted to create. It would have me second guessing what I wanted to do. So I'm starting to get into the habit of just like, hey, I got this idea. I want it this way. Just shoot it the way it is. That's what you wanted to do. That's genuinely what you wanted to do. And as long as it's what I want to do, I'm fine with that.
When we first started, a lot of it was I'm reading every comment that anybody posts on videos. I'm looking at anything anybody says about me. Nowadays, what I do, I'll check out the comments, but thankfully, since we've been doing it for so long, it's easy to not let those comments affect you.
What do you feel is maybe one or two of the most important either analytics or insights that have helped you with navigating what kind of content to post or when to post and all these different things?
Like what I typically like to see is, is my content keeping people interested? Like, is it keeping them over time? Like, are they staying to finish the video? Because I feel like nowadays, like with TikTok and earlier Vine, like people's attention spans are so like limited. Like they want that quick, I'm in and out content. So
yeah, it'd be the same for me as far as the views and the audience retention. And the most successful creators that I've met with and talked to, they're obsessed, absolutely obsessed with analytics and so detail oriented. And if most of their audience drops off at 3 minutes into a YouTube video, they're like, okay, why? What did I say? And then they find out like that's a similar theme that they've been saying in a few videos or something that they've been doing, and that'll lead them to correcting that mistake and then making that retention time even longer.
I guess like what's very unique too is that you both have that comedic approach, and how people consume and take in comedy, it's a little bit different now. And so how do you guys go approach with having these comedic content and videos with knowing that there could be something you do or say that could potentially offend someone and there could be backlash online? Like, how do you go about that?
I think to myself, is this what I want to do? Am I okay with this? And sometimes that's just enough for me. Or like, if not that, just that alone, I'll be around my friends and I'll pitch it to them first and see what they think. And if it hits, I mean, even if it doesn't hit, I'm like, nah, sometimes they may not like it and it's still, this is what I want to do. Like, I still want to do it. Shutting out people's opinions and reactions, that's key to content creation. Like that's a hurdle you're just gonna have to face. There's no getting around that.
Things that we could say 10 years ago, or that people weren't as vocal about 10 years ago, they're a lot more vocal about it now. So we really do have to watch what we say. And for us as content creators, I feel a sense of responsibility. I still want to be me, say what I want to say, but at the same time, I like to try to be as respectful as I can.
You both take a comedic approach, but I feel like sometimes when it comes to comedy, especially when it comes to Black comedics, there's a specific one way that they're like, oh, this is sellable, this is family friendly. I'm not calling you out or anything, but one of your videos I thought was actually funny was like you were like the first Black person who said that specific word, and I thought that was really funny. But some brands and some people may look at that and be like, oh, this is not okay, this is family friendly, but not understanding that there's a cultural component to it. Like, this is something for Black people. It's not made for everyone else. Yeah. So do you ever feel pigeonholed when it comes to brands that view you guys as Black comedians?
It's the cost of business at the end of the day. It's just how it is. And, we can live with that. It's okay because we're doing what we want to do. And there's going to be other brands. There's so many brands out there that that want to work with us, and they're like, "Oh man, what you're doing? That's perfect. Keep it like that. Just add this in there, and then boom, you're done." So, and those are the brands that you want to work with because it makes it more fun for you, and you can stay true to yourself and not sell out.
So, when you got that first big check, what did you decide to do with it?
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh, let me get some video games." Like, yeah. But then my brother, he sat me down. He was like, Case, you got to invest in yourself. At the time, I didn't know what the hell that meant. I'm like, invest in myself. I'm about to splurge this. Like, but I'm like, he was like, you gotta take that check and multiply it. And I'm like, how would I do that? So I started thinking. Back then, I was shooting all my videos on my iPhone, which was good at the time. It was very simple. But I'm like, I can get a camera now. Like, I can get a camera, a mic. I can get some equipment to make my videos like a little bit more professional. Yeah, my first big check probably I splurged a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, but then I started to think to myself, hold on, I gotta be smart about this. Let me invest in myself so I can take my craft even further.
If I was gonna use my money to bet on somebody, you know, I'd be like, let me bet on myself and let me buy myself a better camera and show people like that I'm up in my quality. So yeah, I definitely did the same thing with, you know, getting better mics, better cameras and everything.
I think that with this conversation, I hope that they're all learning that there's so many variables and so many different things you have to think about to be successful. Now, before we end this, I always like to end it off with an actionable tip. I sometimes feel like a lot of advice out there is just very surface level. It's not anything that they can just go and do today. What is an actionable tip that you would give to the viewers that they could do today to be in the seat and the position that you two are in right now?
Consistency is key. And sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, I would sacrifice quality just for the consistency. Like, as long as you're giving the audience something to look at, something to come to your channel to see, they're gonna be there.
Start planning everything that you want to do. You can start planning, oh, hey, I want to make sure I'm posting Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and write that down. Hey, I got these ideas. Let me write them down and get them ready. And plan ahead, you know, plan for weeks to come. There's so many different things. Learn, you know, there's YouTube tutorials talking about how to read your analytics and, you know, educating yourself in the space that you're trying to be in. And that's how you get to be the best at it. That's how you get to be better at it. And that's how you get to keep on growing.
Thank you to our guests for sitting with me today. And thank you to our viewers for tuning into Launching Point. Make sure you drop a comment. Let us know, what is your launching point? Until next time, I'm Erin Ashley Simon. This episode of Launching Point is brought to you by Doritos Solid Black. Doritos Solid Black is about bolstering the voices of Black Changemakers. Shout out to Doritos.